Hello everyone and welcome to Net Crypto, where you get important information and news about all coins and tokens of interest. And today we are taking a look at how the scam Slothana is going, right? So this one is a project we have already highlighted as a scam. The scam is mainly in the pre-sale, but we're not going to forget that there are scammers behind the project. So it's important for us to understand how things are developing. Even if the token is pumping, like we said, we are going to track the good, the bad, the ugly, right? We are going to follow it all the way to the end, because the purpose for this channel is not to fud against pre-sales projects and so on. It's to understand how scammers operate, so that as investors we can make informed decisions whether we want to invest in the pre-sale or after the pre-sale, right? Or you want to just stay completely away from it, right? For me, definitely I wouldn't invest in any pre-sale, right? Because the risk is just too great. So I'm just going to be letting you know exactly my analysis of how the scam is developing and what we can expect, as well as some information on their other scam Slothana, right? And how that might actually change some of their upcoming scams on Solana network, right? So let's jump straight to the content. So the current price is sitting at 0.033. So a lot of people have been asking me, should I sell? Should I hold? What should I do? Right? I cannot tell you what to do at this stage, but I'm going to share you some information and you can decide for yourself what to do. But one thing that I will say is, if you are sitting on anything above 2x, at least cash out your initial investment, right? What I mean by that is, if you had invested $1,000, cash out $1,000, so that if this thing goes viral, it goes to Binance, it explodes, you are still going to make a bag. But if this thing comes crashing right down, right, you're not going to lose your initial capital, at least, right? So let's jump into the content. So the sloth scam, let's see exactly how things work with this particular scam. So what happens with this scam is, it starts off as an idea in a scammer's head, right? And the idea here is, I'm going to create a token with 2 billion tokens on the Solana network. And what is important to note is, these tokens have zero value. They are worth nothing, right? So to give them value, what they do is they start a pre-sale. Basically, it's a website. In this case, it's extremely simplistic. Just look at this, right? Some sticky notes, Slothana, red eyes, create a Twitter, blah, 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 right? And then they say one soul will actually give you 10,000 Slothana, right? That's one soul for 10,000. Let's just increase this one a little bit so that you can see it a little bit better. One soul for 10,000, right? And according to the calculations that we did during the pre-sale, the minimum price that you could have bought it is around 0.012, right? It's around the 0.012 range, which means currently if the price hit, so it's around 0.012. And if you had bought at the top of it, it's around the range of 0.018 to 20, around there, right? And then a lot of people will buy. Now let's just round it off and say $20 million was actually raised during the pre-sale, or invested into the pre-sale. And then after that, they did the launch, airdropped, tried to not airdrop to some people, right? And we exposed them, and then they were forced to airdrop to everyone. And now that they were forced to airdrop to everyone, what they did is they started to sell, because remember, they've still got a bunch of tokens that are worth nothing, and they just start selling them. And by selling them, they now trigger fear into a lot of investors, and investors also start to sell, because guess what, the price is dropping, and it hit an ATL of around 206, right around there. Maybe it's lower than that, but it hit an ATL at this. So at this stage, a lot of investors, now that the price recovered and even went higher, will start to regret, I was not supposed to have sold. But the issue here is, no one can tell what the scammers were going to do next. If everyone had not sold when it hit this, it could have just continued to go down. But because they saw that a lot of investors sold at this price range, so let's say everyone who sold lost 50% of their bag. That would mean that out of the 20 million invested, scammers scored a cool $10 million because investors sold at a 50% loss. So now the scammers, they've got 10 million bucks. What do? They start buying, right? They start buying, they come out, they start negotiating with exchanges, mainly those exchanges that make most of their money with listings, because most of the exchanges, like 3-tier exchanges, they make their money with listings, right? The bigger exchanges like tier 1, they're difficult to get listed on because they don't actually get paid for listings. They make most of their money from trading. That's why they want to list big tokens or tokens that are gaining massive popularity, right? Because they don't make money from listings. But the smaller exchanges, you pay them, you get listed, right? It's as simple as that. And the scammer starts to buy, and then because of the hype, the price is increasing. They also, at this stage where the scammer started buying, they also started marketing aggressively, right? With all their 100x and 1000x YouTubers, they started pumping up the price, right? The price was pumping up and pumping up. And the listing hype, and because of that, the price went to 0.05. And then the listing hype as well pushed the price even further to 0.06. This is now the HTX listing that we saw, right? So this is where we are. After this, now we see a correction coming in. Currently, the price is sitting at 0.03. So what's next? What I have noticed now is the adoption have slowed down, right? It's at 37,000 followers. It's slowing down. It's still there, but it's slowing down, right? So that's why I say if you are sitting on anything 2x and above, cash out your initial investment at least to protect your initial capital, not financial advice, right? Cash out because no one can tell what is going to go on right now. So what the scammers are hoping for is probably an OKX listing. This is the only listing that might push things a little bit further, right? So if we see what happened with Wall Street memes, OKX was the last exchange it was listed on, tier 1-ish exchange, and after that the token just died down. It went 1x up, then died down. So if the same thing happened, it would mean that maybe it might go to 0.01 or even 0.02, then it dies down. For it to even go further than that, now we are talking of going to Binance, right? That's what we are talking about, going to Binance. And also Gate.io might also increase things a little bit, because they also did highlight that they are going exchange after exchange. So maybe the next exchange is going to be Gate.io, but some of these exchanges, they're not going to have any sort of impact to the price. Like already we can see with HTX, it didn't really help. Of course, it pumped a little bit, but it's correcting now. So scammers need to make a decision. Are we going to pump more money into this thing or not? And what is actually interesting right now is on DEX2s. If you go and now check the whale watching, right? Let's go into whale watching and see what's going on, right? So we can see that there is this wallet, right? There is this wallet here. Let's check it out. ZH2Y. Just go and check that wallet, right? ZH2Y. It came in, bought at 24,000, right? Bought at 24,000 right here. ZH2Y came again, bought. No, it actually bought and then it sold at 24,000 again. And then ZH2Y, it's a front-running bot, came again, bought at 39,000, right? And then it also sold, right, at 29,000, which is actually quite interesting, because we know that at Ethereum there is an AE wallet there that also does buying a lot of tokens, that also buys a lot of tokens and sells at a loss. But this ZH2Y doesn't seem to be doing that on here. But it's actually interesting. It's buys and sells. It's actually opening big buys and sells right, for small marginal profits. Like for example, it bought here 629, right, and sold for 668. So very minimal, right? On Solana, I think it will work out great because of zero gas fees, right? So, but there are a bunch of wallets that are also selling on here, right? And what we want to watch are wallets that are buying and not selling. At this stage, there are no wallets that are actually really buying at a loss, right? So we need to start to watch wallets at this stage. That's why it's important to now start to do whale watching, see what wallets are doing, especially wallets that buy and don't sell, right? Because those wallets are the ones that the scammers are using to pump and prop up the price. But also at the other stage, they can just completely be elusive and just buy on the exchanges, right? Because when they buy on the exchanges, the arbitrage between DEX and SEX is going to just cause the price to actually normalize, and they will be able to effectively hide the wallet action, right? So it's also important for us to actually monitor how the wallets are going to be moving so that we actually understand the scam even more, right? So what does a legit project look like? A legit project look like this meme token, Dog Elon Musk, launched way back, right, in, like I said, in 2021, around March. If you had bought this token in the pre-sale for $1,000 today, you'd still have $1,000 because the developers did not create this token to actually take money from investors. So for Slothana, or any other pre-sale that is a scam, you identify it as a scam because it goes below the pre-sale price, right? So if any token that is in the pre-sale goes below the pre-sale price, it's a scam because the scammers are selling their zero value tokens on the market and taking, because you put Solana, right, which is more valuable. This token is worth nothing, and the scammers will sell their zero value tokens on the market for your Solana, and they become rich, and everyone who's invested is becoming poor or is getting rugged, right? So that's why we call this one scam, because it's not supposed to go below the pre-sale price. Just like what we are seeing with Dog Elon Musk currently, this token was released 2 years ago. It's not supposed to really go below the pre-sale price, right? But if the developers had actually taken a chunk of Dog Elon Musk and sold it, we're going to be way below the pre-sale price. For example, one thing that I wanted to just highlight is if you just search also Sloth, right, you can see that it's now on 2559. It was on 2510 before. So we can see that the ranking number is increasing, which is bad because it means adoption is starting to actually become stagnant. It's right, because adoption is what is going to cause the token to go viral, right? It's an indication for us to know that this token is on its way, but we just have to continue to monitor it and see how things are developing, right? And now the scammers have actually changed their methods, taking a look at Solana, because before they were doing the send for one Solana. If you buy, you are going to get 6,900 Solana, something like that. But now they've changed everything because maybe of the Hyena scammers, right? So the Hyena scammers, the scammers who are coming up and creating fake Solana websites, right? So that people, like for example, you have this sponsored website called Solana.network, right? It's a scam coming from Solana. You see, so it looks like in this scammers still have got the old one sold for 6,900, right? If you send your Solana to this one, your Solana to this one, your Solana, I mean, to Solana, your money is gone, right? Because these are like Hyena scammers. So the Hyena scammers are just circling around the main scam, which is this one. They try to reach out to the main the investors who are investing into this scam on Telegram, Twitter, saying I can help you with your tokens and so on, and they try to take your seed phrase and all that. These are the Hyena scammers. They are creating imitation websites. I think they even created another one, the Solana.club, That's another imitation website. Let's just check out how it looks like. Right, so you see, there we go. Even the font that they use there is different, but you can see they're still using the same wallet address. Oh yeah, the font has changed up. So these are like Hyena schemas, like a schema under another schema, right? They're trying to also just get to be part of the action, to take part and get part of the action. Right, so guys, that's why I say it's important for you to grab yourself the Big Brain Crypto Ego logbook, so that you can start to wise up against the scammers. You can be part of the 1%, especially if you have watched this video until this stage, right? And some of you do ask, how do we support the channel? You can drop a super thanks, right? And you can also join the membership. I share exclusive content, for example, how to make money in any pre-sale. There's a video like that in the membership section. I only share it with the members, right? Because I wouldn't just share that information on here, right? So that's how you can support the channel. And it's important for you to actually log. Even if you don't get this, right, you can log in another book, but this book is created for actually logging pre-sales, so that you can wise up against the scammers, and you can start to actually see patterns. Because if you don't log, a lot of things you're not going to see a lot of things, right? But when you put pen to paper and you meditate and you look at multiple pre-sales, you write down how things are developing, right? Especially pre-sales from different scammers, like Slothana, we know is the same scammers behind. It's Solana, it's the same scammers like Dogeverse, Dogecoin 20, plenty of the other scams that we did cover. So this is how things are developing currently, right? So the most important thing is we're going to be watching also the main wallets, the whales, right? But with this one, since they are centralized exchanges now, the scammers can just decide to move to move price action to the centralized exchanges, and that's something that we can actually check, right? We can check it. Let's just go to sloth, right? And then we go to markets, right? And then in the markets, we want to go to centralized exchanges, sexes, right? And then we can start to see volume. So we can see in the past 24 hours, there was about 7 million worth of volume on here and another 4 million on here, right? So you can see that the scammers can start to move price action towards exchanges, right? Rather than on the DEX, because on the DEX, we can see the wallets, what they are doing, but you can't on the centralized exchanges, right? Just something for you to take a note of. All right, so if you're wondering what happened to the website, the original website, slothana.com, well, it's not working now. Now they've moved over to slothana.io. It's actually a problem that the scammers are having with multiple scams, like Dogecoin 20, Dogeverse. Also, they are having website problems. So maybe they are being attacked by these guys who are creating imitation websites, so that when the initial website is down, an investor will just look at any website, and if they connect their wallet and provide their seed phrase, then they lose all their tokens, right? So be careful, right? Just in case this one also comes down, be careful. Most probably they are going to change it back to slothana.com once they've resolved whatever DOS attacks or whatever that they are getting from the other Hyena scammers. So this is my update for this one. Let me know, what do you think down there? So thank you. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel, drop a super thanks. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.